ValveTime.net.
Hi, and welcome to episode 3 of ValveTime Top 5. In this episode, we'll be looking at the most unforgettable narrative sequences in Valve's games. Valve have always remained true to their philosophy of never using cutscenes in their storytelling pursuits to allow the player to feel consistently connected to the world, characters, and events. Oh, and be warned, this episode is extremely spoiler-heavy, primarily in regards to the HalfLife and Portal series. Let's get started. Number 5. Starting at number 5 is a particularly impressive narrative moment which takes place near the start of Half-Life 2 Episode 2, namely the first glimpse of the infamous portal storm, followed by the visually cinematic and memorable bridge collapse. As an introductory sequence to the second Half-Life 2 episode, this particular scene had to strike a chord with players in order to highlight both technical improvements and the increase in narrative scope, both of which had been substantially upscaled since Episode 1, which released over a year prior. While previously the player has only received hints from Eli regarding the portal storms and their devastating power, this scene allows Gordon and Alex to experience the terrifying shockwave firsthand.
Portal storm! It's like the first days all over again.
This short comment from Alex provides some interesting insight into the backstory of Half-Life 2, allowing players to make a distinct visual and narrative link to the devastating unseen events of both the 7-Hour War and the aftermath of the Resonance Cascade, both of which precursored the Combine's arrival. The segment also provides the player with an instant reflection on their actions in regards to narrative events they have set into motion during both Half-Life 2 and Episode 1, instantly cementing veteran players back into the mindset of everyone's favorite physicist. While the bridge collapse definitely functions as a technical demonstration by Valve's animators, the sequence also acted as the first example of cinematic destruction within the Source engine, a particularly impressive method of animating which would later become the foundation for set pieces within Team Fortress 2, Portal 2, and the Left 4 Dead series. While the scene's animator, Gray Horsfeld, has since left Valve to begin work as a Weta digital FX artist, few can deny the technical foundation he helped set in place during the development of this famous introduction. Number 4. Time to swap over to the Portal series for our number 4 entry. The Portal series has definitely provided us Valve fans with some amazing narrative moments and impressive set pieces, with one of our favorites being the shocking Act 2 conclusion of Portal 2, in which GLaDOS is replaced by Wheatley as Aperture Science's central AI core. As the Act 2 finale, the scene had to impress, and it really pulled that off. Wheatley's betrayal and the following dramatic relationship twist between GLaDOS and Shell stand amongst the most surprising and shocking narrative moments in the entirety of Valve's gameplay library. The scene also represents one of Valve's most perfectly crafted moments, as Portal 2 writers Eric, Chet, and Jay have managed to balance comedy, drama, gameplay, and more into a single enclosed narrative sequence. The scene unfolds slowly, allowing the players to initially develop a feeling of success before seemingly rewarding Shell and Wheatley with the downfall of GLaDOS. Almost immediately, the scene becomes an emotional roller coaster as every ounce of success is flipped on its head and instead turned into dread, fear, and regret. While perhaps not quite as technically stunning as number 5, this sequence does provide us with an idea of how Valve's focus on precise facial animation in Half-Life 2 has since transferred and advanced to the point where even faceless robots such as Wheatley can visually convey emotions at a superior level to that of most other video game characters of today. And let's not forget the excellent performances of both Stephen Merchant and Ella McLean, who play Wheatley and GLaDOS respectively. Their performances matched alongside the brilliantly timed score by Valve composer Mike Moraski really helps to bring the scene alive, making it number 4 on our list.
Exactly how painful are we to— Ah!
No, stop, no, 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 no!
We'll head back in time quite a few years for number 3. Quite honestly, the list wouldn't be complete if we didn't include the Black Mesa incident, also known as the Resonance Cascade. Starting as a normal day of work for a young scientist, the situation soon turns from a mundane morning commute into a disastrous, earth-shattering event after Gordon places a Xenian crystal into the anti-mass spectrometer, which accidentally tears a rift between Black Mesa and the Zen border world. This rift would later shatter and expand outwards across the entire globe, providing a perfect open gate for the arrival of the Universal Union, aka the Combine. The importance and significance of this scene is later expanded upon massively when we learn during Half-Life 2 and its sequel episodes that both Wallace Breen, Black Mesa's administrator, and the G-Man both had roles to play in this so-called accident. From a narrative perspective, this scene forces the player to stand hopelessly as Gordon's world is quite literally torn apart in front of him, setting every single event in the Half-Life series into motion in some shape or form. To this day, the sequence remains as one of the series' narrative focal points, and the effects of it are still seen and referenced even in the most recent games. As a particularly impressive technical demonstration back in 1998, the sequence helped to set the bar, pardon the pun, for the series' future high-quality set pieces and the use of state-of-the-art gaming technology. While it might stand as the series' literal groundwork, we personally don't see this sequence as the most memorable or emotionally engaging in Valve's library, making it sit quite comfortably at number 3 on our list. Number 2. In at number 2 is an extremely famous scene taken once again from Half-Life 2 Episode 2. This sequence in particular is almost guaranteed to give any fan serious shivers up their spine.
Dr. Freeman.
Yes, we're talking about the famous G-Man confrontation scene in which Gordon's mysterious supposed employer offers a stern warning. It seems particularly strange to even have to describe why this scene is narratively important, emotionally engaging, and an extremely vital cinematic sequence. From the brilliant writing of Mark Laidlaw to the fantastic acting of Michael Shapiro and the pixel-perfect visual design and lighting, this scene encompasses everything great about the Half-Life series' narrative progression. The sequence successfully marries traditional game cinematic sequences with Half-Life's synonymous constantly connected first-person perspective in order to deliver an extremely well-written speech from the series' most mysterious and interesting character. This particular sequence with the G-Man is more interesting and chilling than most, due to the particular narrative circumstance the player finds themselves in. The G-Man has been absent for an entire episode thanks to Gordon and the Vortigaunt's actions in Half-Life 2. With his plans interrupted, the G-Man is forced to take this particular opportunity to break free of the Vortigaunt's hold over him, allowing him to once again take control over Gordon. The player is aware of all of this, which makes the G-Man's initial arrival seem all the more shocking, troubling, and chilling. For once, we are given the small insight into the mind of this mysterious character, as both his tone of voice and body language reflect his reserved frustration. This insight, along with the immense impact and the narrative consequences of this scene later in the episode, provide us with more than enough reasons for this sequence to be picked as number 2 on our list. Number 1. Before we start with number 1, we'd like to warn you that serious episode 2 spoilers lurk ahead, so look away if you have yet to play it. Our number 1 choice is, of course, T-1, the extremely short final chapter from Half-Life 2 Episode 2. The entire rocket launch sequence and the final advisor engagement act as brilliant examples to demonstrate why Half-Life and its narrative are so well regarded in the gaming world. Brilliant character development and interaction interwoven with visually pleasing set pieces and emotionally driven experiences. This single map chapter encompasses the greatest and fastest emotional shift in the entire series, driving Gordon, Alex, and Eli away from their feelings of pure elation regarding their successes and tearing them straight into an extremely moving and heart-wrenching death sequence involving the series' most well-established character. Eli's death arrives as a shock to fans, taking many of us completely by surprise despite the advisor's anger and aggression being established and displayed multiple times throughout the game. As if killing off a major character isn't enough, the scene's arrival is so abrupt and sudden that it makes the impact of the murder all the more emotionally shocking.
Roy!
Don't! Dad, look out! No! Dad! Dad! God damn it, let go of him! Oh my God!
Close your eyes, honey.
I love you, Dad!
Don't look.
No! Oh my God! No! No!
As you've just heard, the final scene's outstanding features by far the moving acting of Merle Dandridge and Robert Guillaume, both of which bring an extremely high level of emotion and fragility to these characters that we have come to know and love. The scene's overall delivery is so impressive that we feel the send-off of Eli, the episode, and the series thus far couldn't really have been improved or perfected in any way. And that brings another episode of ValveTime Top 5 to a close. Let us know in the comments below what you thought of our list and what you may or may not agree with. While you're there, tell us what you'd like to see a future episode of Top 5 center around. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more ValveTime videos, news, and reviews coming in the near future. Bye for now.